The incel community is one of the most controversial and discussed communities in the world nowadays and in our times, in the recent years. Today we're going to talk about the incel community and the red pill ideology as a whole, and it's going to be a video. It's not going to be a documentary, but it's going to be a video where I inform you about the community and how it works, more or less. It's going to be a pretty broad video. It's not going to be a very long one. I don't think it's going to be like half an hour long. However, it is going to be, I think, a good video, or at least I hope a good one. And I'm not going to give my opinion on incels, although it's pretty simple to understand what a person's opinion about such people who pursue such behaviors is. But regardless of that, this is going to be an informative video, and I want you to make up your mind about the red pill movement and incels. Before we start the video, guys, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button as always, activate notifications bell, and comment down below with your opinion. That would be really appreciated. And now let's get started. Let's start, guys, with the definition of the word incel. That's the first point of the video, of course. I have to give you the definition in order to understand what we're talking about. So an incel is basically I'm going to read you what Wikipedia says. Incel is a term closely associated with an online subculture of people, mostly white, male, and heterosexual, who define themselves as unable to get a romantic or sexual partner despite desiring one. Originally coined as incel, with the V between the N and the C, around 1997 by a queer Canadian female student known as Alana, the spelling had shifted to incel by 1999, and the term later rose to prominence in the late 2010s, following the influence of Elliot, Roger, and Alec Minassian. So it is basically a term associated to people, who are, as I said, white males, heterosexual, who are seeking a romantic relationship and a partner but can't find one. And we're gonna get into that. We're gonna go down the whole rabbit hole as the video goes on. And let's talk about now the very bad, I would call them, characteristics of incels. So this subculture is often characterized by deep resentment, hatred, hostility, sexual objectification, misogyny, misanthropy, self-pity, and self-loathing, racism, a sense of entitlement to sex, blaming of women and the sexually successful for their situation, which is often seen as predetermined due to biological determinism, evolutionary genetics, or a rigged game. So more or less, I'm gonna sum this whole thing up, and I'm gonna make it easier for you to understand, because some complicated words have been thrown into this paragraph. Basically, it talks about the fact that this subculture is characterized by the blaming of the other men who are successful, because incels are not successful women, and I'm not into relationships, so I don't know about relationships, but there are some men, there are some boys, there are some young men who are obsessed with wanting a girlfriend and all that stuff, and we're going to talk about that because it is effectively not a very positive thing to be obsessed about wanting to have a relationship. It is not a good thing to be obsessed about anything. Probably there are just a few things which are good to be obsessed about, let's just put it in that way, but in this case it is not good to be obsessed by. And in this case, and the problem is that incels actually blame, basically what they're saying, genetically gifted people for their beauty. We're going to talk about the LMS theory: looks, money, and status, which basically means that those are the three only important traits a man must have in order to be successful with women. So basically, it's a subculture where characterized by very bad things, including, as I said, the success of other men who, in the incels' eyes, are just successful because genetically they've been gifted with beauty and attractiveness. Let's go on now to the next point. In fact, they talk about a rigged game. A rigged game, like, incels complain about the fact that they haven't been gifted with the same, they haven't been bestowed with the same genetical gifts as the privileged one. That's more or less the complaint which is being made. But moving on to the next topic, to the next point here, let's talk about something else. Let's keep with the definition. So then, also other than that, a sense of futility and nihilism rape culture. This is what the subculture is often characterized by, and I'm reading Wikipedia now at the moment, and I'm gonna also explain. And endorsement of sexual and non-sexual violence against women and sexually active people. Incel communities have been increasingly criticized by scholars, government officials, and others for their misogyny, the endorsement and encouragement of violence and extremism. Over time, the subculture has become associated with extremism and terrorism, and since 2013 there have been multiple mass killings, mostly in North America, perpetrated by self-identified incels, as well as other instances of violence or attempted violence. So now let's forget about Wikipedia and the definition I just read you. So basically what we're talking about a group of people, incels, who have, well, we could say they're mentally ill. I mean, it's not an offense, but it is just, I think, the truth. And this is, I think, the result of ostracizing masculinity. Let me explain this. So here we are clearly seeing an example of unhealthy and toxic masculinity, with this, with this being obsessed about relationships with women. We're seeing very bad things. I mean, incels complain about the genetical gifts which have been bestowed upon other people, and that's a very negative thing, guys. From this we can learn, I think, that regardless of, you have to be, I think, especially, and most of you are like me, people who have no problems. I have my limbs are functioning, my brain is functioning, I'm young, I'm healthy, I don't have problems. There are people who have been born with no limbs, there are people who have been born with very serious problems, and it is a shame. I think, as I said, it is a shame that people were born with problems, and I think that incels. The result, which are incels, the result here is caused by the fact that masculinity has been completely ostracized. That's the main problem. That's the main issue. I'm gonna probably play a clip of Andrew Tate, which is extremely relatable in this case. I'm gonna play this clip.
The emotional men is that they're dangerous. They're genuinely dangerous. This is what's crazy. All these people who talk about toxic masculinity and how bad it is for men to be traditionally masculine. A traditionally masculine man does things he doesn't feel like doing because it is his duty to do them. He charges into the building because it is his duty. Not because he feels like it, because it is his duty. We're now teaching the new generation of men that they don't have duty and they can just act on their feelings and act how they feel, and they don't have to act as a man should. Do you know what happens when you get men who just act how they feel? You get school shooters, you get violence, you get rapists. Men who do not control their emotions are dangerous. If you find a man who is stoic, he's not going to hurt people. He's going to sit and think about his actions very carefully, and he's going to be a good man who protects and provides for his family. You find a man who just acts out on impulse and does whatever he feels like, you're going to find a dangerous man. Sitting here telling men to cry more and act with their feelings, and it's okay to feel this way, that way, etc., and have no self-control. That is why we have the problems we have in the world. Absolutely and utterly wrong. So when they talk about toxic masculinity, they have it completely inversed on its head, completely and utterly wrong. We need to be teaching stoicism. We need to be teaching young men to understand that the world is very, very difficult. It's hard to be a man. You're going to feel bad sometimes. You need to suck it up and perform anyway. Not to sit there and cry your eyes out or blame other people.
So basically, what he talks about here is the fact that men who don't have emotional control, and guys, by the way, this is not an endorsement to Andrew Tate. I made a video about him, which was my most popular one, but I remember him talking about this, and it is very relatable in this case. Regardless of that, he talks about the fact that, men who don't have emotional control are men who are dangerous. The school shooters are men who don't have emotional control. Incels are men who don't have emotional control. And the incels who actually kill people and were part of mass murders are actually the people who are dangerous. And the point Andrew makes here is absolutely spot on, and he describes incels perfectly. Let's think about the person who shot Trump 7 days ago, 8 days ago. That person didn't have emotional control. That person had mental problems. And you get dangerous people, especially when we talk about men, you get dangerous men when they are hyper emotional. Why? Because men who are emotional and men have an inclination towards violence. If you can control your instincts and you don't act violently, having an inclination towards violence, it's not a bad thing. And we should stop demonizing having an inclination towards violence. What we should do is preaching, and more than that, inspire men to control that inclination towards violence. So here what Andrew talks about is absolutely spot on, and it absolutely resonates with incels. Incels are people with no emotional control, people who are extremely narcissistic, who think about misogyny, who are misogynistic, who don't treat women well and are so obsessed with wanting women. And that's, I think, a very dangerous thing. So that's the first part. Now we talked about incels. Now guys, let's move on to the next part of the video. Now let's talk about LMS, so look money status. Guys, actually I haven't found many things about this, but I'm gonna talk about this on my own. Let's just say it in that way. So look money status, what does that mean exactly? So this is a theory basically where this theory believes, let's say it in that way, that the three all important things about a man in a relationship are look, of course, attractiveness, and when it comes to incels it is probably related to genetical attractiveness, so how genetically gifted you are when it comes to how you look. Money, so the importance of having a lot of money in order to attract women and to attract as many women as possible with this human. Then status, of course, which means your social status, if you are if you have a higher status or lower status. So this idea and this concept, as every concept, can be very dangerous. And I'm not saying that those things are not important. And actually in this video I'm not going to give an opinion about anything, even though it is pretty clear, I think. But the problem is that when it comes to incels and when it comes to this community, it is taken to an extent where it is actually dangerous and where it is actually extremism. Why? Because you get so obsessed. Because the problem with incels is that they are obsessed with wanting to get women because they can't get women, and they blame other people for that. And they blame, of course, the women for not choosing them, and then also they blame the other men who they consider to be privileged to steal, let's use this word, the women from them. And they think that the reason why the women are not with them is because they don't have enough, because they don't look good enough, because they don't have enough money, because their status is not high enough. Now, let's think about this. Pursuing to look better than you look, it's not a bad thing. But the problem is when you take it to a level where you're obsessed and when you only think about that. And that's a very dangerous thing, and that's a very dangerous point where we should not get ever. And we should not get to a point with anything, really. You cannot be too obsessed in that way. You cannot be hedonistic. You cannot be any of the extremes. It is important that the pendulum swings and stops at the middle and doesn't stop at the left or at the right, regardless of it being politics or not. So that's the whole theory. So it is based, it is this theory where, let's just sum this whole thing up succinctly. It is this theory where you basically only focus on your look, your money, and your status in order to get as much attention as possible from women and in order to be as desired as possible from women. And as I said, the problem with incels is that they're too obsessed with this thing, and the problem is that, you know, the problem begins with masculinity, as we talked about before, and the fact that we are ostracizing it instead of showing a good version of it. But there are many reasons why I think it is being ostracized, and I'm gonna open a parenthesis which I'm gonna close very quickly. And the reason why it is ostracized is because I think there is an attempt to disenfranchise and demoralize the population, and we have seen that many times. We're going to talk about that in some of the next videos. Now let's move on to the third and last main topic of the day. This video actually is going to last 20 minutes. I'm sorry, guys. Now, guys, let's talk about the red pill and black pill theory. Let's talk about the red pill theory mainly because, of course, it is the most popular and important one. But nevertheless, I'm also going to cover the black pill. So the red pill, I'm going to read you this from Wikipedia, and then I'm going to comment and expand on it. The red pill is an illusion that is common among manosphere communities as well as some communities outside of the manosphere. It originates from the dilemma in the movie The Matrix, which I sincerely recommend because it is a very entertaining movie. The last movie I watched, it was on a plane, it was fun, where the protagonist must choose whether to remain in a world of illusion, taking the blue pill, or to see the world as it really is, taking the red pill. Among communities that use the term, the red pill often refers to the core set of beliefs of that community, and people who are red-pilled or who have taken the red pill are those who hold those beliefs. In manosphere communities such as men's rights groups, and according to some researchers in incel communities as well, taking the red pill means seeing a world where feminism has given women too much power over men and male privilege does not exist. The black pill is an extension of the red and blue pill analogy. There is some disagreements among researchers and journalists over which beliefs are red pill and which are black pill, and whether the black pill ideology is a distinguishing belief of the incel ideology or if there are self-identified incels who do not subscribe to black pill ideas. Some researchers and journalists use the term red pill to refer to the set of beliefs commonly led by men's rights activists, and the term black pill to summarize the incel ideology as a whole. Taking the black pills, Hoffman have said that taking the black pill is critical to the incel identity since it means recognizing inceldom as a permanent condition. So the black pill generally refers to a set of beliefs mostly held by incel communities, which include biological determination, fatalism, and defeatism for unattractive people. These beliefs are supported by continued reference on incel forums to scientific studies in fields such as psychology, sociology, and evolutionary biology. Believers are referred to as being black pilled. The black pill has been described by Vox correspondent Zach Beshuam, I don't know how to read his name, as a profound sex ideologist that, blah, 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 blah. We don't care. So basically, to sum the whole thing up, because this video's gone on for too long now, it is basically a very, very materialistic way to see life, and I don't think it is in the incel community and the incel ideology. It is not a good one. I don't think it is a good one, to be frank and honest with you. I think that there are far better ones than that one, and I don't think we should aspire to seeing everything to be that materialistic. And I think that there should be balance in life. I don't think that you should only look for having a relationship so obsessively. I don't think you should do that, to be honest. Guys, let me know what is your opinion on this very interesting and controversial topic. I hope that you enjoyed and liked the video. Guys, tell me your opinion about incels, LMS, and red pill and blue and black pill. What do you think about this, guys? What do you think about those topics? Thank you very much for the support. See you in a couple of days with another video. Bye bye.